Hi everyone, this is Marla at Twin Astrology, and this is a channeled message for twin flames on the Aries New Moon that's happening April 7th, 2016. And new moons are when the sun and the moon meet, and they're forming a conjunction at 18 degrees and 4 minutes in the sign of Aries. Aries is the first sign of the zodiac and represents new beginnings, as well as sudden changes and kind of forks in the road. So this is a great opportunity for us to make some changes. Aries is all about the self and finding courage. Aries has a lot of optimism. It's the sign that wants to go for it. I think of Aries as being like the Fool card from the Tarot. And the Fool is asked to step off the cliff into the unknown and start a brand new journey. And that's what Aries is, starting a brand new journey, taking that leap of faith. We had the two eclipses recently, and I think we were all shown what it is that we need to let go of, where it is that we need to make adjustments. And now we're getting this beautiful full moon that's giving us the strength, the courage, and the confidence to move forward. If there's something you need to walk away from, you'll be able to do it. If you're at a fork in the road and you need to make an adjustment, you'll have the courage to do it. If sudden changes come your way. And let me tell you, that's quite likely as Uranus is going to be conjunct the sun and the moon. You'll be able to handle whatever is thrown at you. The Sabian symbol for the new moon is a magic carpet, hovers over the depressing reality of everyday life in an industrial area. So we're rising above. This symbol has a lot to do with the ascension, being able to rise to the higher dimensions, transcending our worries, being able to see things from a new perspective, giving us keener insight and awareness. Again, which is perfect, considering we have the asteroid Uranus conjunct, which can be sudden realizations and flashes of insight. I think this symbol also represents manifesting. And what's the magic carpet is our thoughts and being able to change our reality through our internal focus. Aries is all about taking action, taking the lead. It's ruled by Mars, and we're fortunate to have Mars still going direct in Sagittarius, a fellow fire sign. So we still are having a lot of drive. I think it's the 18th when Mars will go retrograde. And when that happens, we're going to be, our drive is turned very inward. We don't have the energy and the focus to go after things, to be more thoughtful about things instead of being impetuous. And often we can feel even angry because we can't seem to make any progress with things. However, I think Mars retrograde is going to be very beneficial for twin flames, especially for whichever twin carries the masculine energy. Because as the masculine energy is turned down and takes a back seat, It's going to open them up to the feminine energy. The feminine energy is going to be able to come in and balance or possibly even take the lead. And when they're open up to the feminine energy, they're going to become more in tuned psychically, more intuitive, more tapped into higher consciousness, and be able to, again, see the bigger picture, see things from a different perspective. And there's a very good possibility that for some twins that carry the masculine energy, that they could have an awakening, a sudden awakening. So our drive is going to be really, really good, with some caveats. We're being tested as well on our self-mastery. And so we need to find a middle ground. We have Uranus conjunct and Pluto squaring. The new moon is setting off the Pluto-Uranus square. And this square has really been helping twin flames since 2012 to really evolve. So we can see that this is going to be another major step in our evolution as these two are triggered. Now, I already mentioned how with Uranus here conjunct the sun and the moon, there's a big opportunity for sudden insight, sudden awareness, sudden changes, sudden people being thrown on our path. And with Pluto squaring, transformation, searching our shadow, clearing our shadow. Now, the warning that I want to say to you twins is that there's a lot of energy right now around battling. Aries is the sign of courage, it's true. But Aries also wants to be the leader. It wants to get its own way. There's a tendency for Aries, when it's not controlled, to want to let nothing stand in your way. As well as Uranus is on the Sabian symbol, a boxer is entering the ring. And Pluto is on the Sabian symbol, a Union Jack The Union Jack flies from a new British warship. So both the Sabians for Uranus and Pluto have to do with confrontations, battles, wars. A show of strength, being in power, overpowering someone else, wanting to be in control. So this energy is what we're being warned about right now. We need to stay very focused on the middle ground. Now is not the time for us to bulldoze over people, but to take the diplomatic approach. There can be a tendency with Aries to blurt things out. We need to remember to be tactful and to have compassion for people. I'm thinking of Pluto too, and Pluto's the ruler of Scorpio. And the sign Scorpio at its higher octave is the phoenix rising from the ashes, while Scorpio at the lower octave is the scorpion that stings its enemy in order to kill them. So you want to make sure this week or I should say this month, that you take a balanced approach. Now we're dealing with karmic situations, so there may be feelings of anger and revenge coming up. We need to not be the scorpion. We need to be the phoenix. We need to take the higher road. Remember the Sabian symbol. A magic carpet rises above. We need to rise above the 3D and the depression and ugliness and really focus on our higher power, our self-mastery, being in control. I think if we become too off-balanced, we won't get the desired effect that we're hoping for. You know, Aries isn't known for its patience, and yet we really need to find patience right now. And the way to do that is meditation. If you watch my weekly videos, I talked about meditation and going within right now. And the Sabian symbol also can be seen to represent meditation. So staying connected to Source and our higher self is going to give us the balance that we're seeking, the middle road. Again, with the self-mastery, it's also a time for us to step into our own power, to stop letting others control us or tell us what to do. In Aries, courage can give us the ability to do that. The person that knows your path the best is you. So start taking your own advice. You know what your own truth is. I'm also feeling that shortly after the new moon, we're going to be getting a lot of upgrades. So over the weekend and into next week, there will be upgrades going on. So it's a time for you to rest as well. And you may not feel like resting because you may have all this Aries energy, this Mars drive to achieve things. But again, I'm feeling in order to stay the middle ground, we need to rest. We need to spend time alone. We need to focus on ourselves. That's going to help us get through the upgrades. And the upgrades, I feel, are going to have to do with bringing you and your twin closer together and helping you balance the energies. But you could feel tired. You could be having stomach aches from your solar plexus. And you could have headaches. All right, let's talk about some asteroids. Oh, the new moon is also trine to Saturn. This is very helpful to us because Saturn is going to take the changes that we're trying to make and he's going to ground them in the 3D. The negative side of having Saturn trine is that it can be bringing up a lot of fears. And that's okay because right now is the time for us to conquer our fears, and we can't conquer them unless we're aware of them. So let the universe show you where you're afraid. It's going to help you know how to move forward. So the asteroid Atlantis is conjunct Uranus, the sun, and the moon. You may have dreams or visions or memories from Atlantis at this time. You may feel closer to your twin. You may hear from your twin. The asteroid union is at 24 degrees of Sagittarius. And union is making some really nice aspects. The union in this chart is representing the union of twin flames. Of course, we are always in union with our twin flame in the higher dimensions. But we're trying to ground that energy in the 3D. So at the time of the new moon, union is going to be opposite Psyche. This is going to be a very beneficial aspect. Psyche represents our psychic connection that we have to our soulmate or twin flame. And if we look at the myth of Psyche and Eros, we'll get more information about what's happening. So, Psyche was the most beautiful mortal woman, and everyone became more interested in her than Venus. So Venus wanted to get rid of her. She sent her son Eros to shoot Psyche with an arrow and make her fall in love with a monster. But instead, Eros fell in love with her. And he snuck her away to his castle. But she didn't know that she was married to Eros. She didn't know who she was married to because she wasn't allowed to see him. Then one day she snuck a peek at Eros. She actually listened to some advice from her sisters, which is another sign for us to not take advice from others right now, but to heed our own advice. And Eros was so mad that she disobeyed his orders that he left her. So she went to Venus, her mother-in-law, and asked for help. And Venus, of course, hated her. So she set up these impossible challenges for Psyche. And if Psyche was able to complete them, then Venus would help her reunite with Eros. And Psyche, she was very persistent, and she overcame every impossible obstacle. And as she overcame each obstacle, she cleared her vessel that much more, making her more psychically in tune. And eventually, Eros came back to her. He was so happy that she had been so persistent. And the gods were so impressed with her abilities that they made her immortal. So you can see how this fits in with twins, in that every obstacle that we clear, every fear that we purge, brings us that much closer in our connection to our twin flame, as well as brings us that much closer to our divinity. So understand that these challenges that you're facing are all part of your self-mastery. It's all part of the process. And so there's likely to be some challenge that you're working on at this time. But see it as a benefit to your union, as letting go of the old. We also have asteroid Kali in conjunct union. And Kali is all about letting things go, especially our ego. Kali dissolves our ego so that we can see what's real. She takes the illusions away from us. And one of those illusions is that you are separate from your twin. And the god Amor is also trining union. And Amor represents unconditional love. Loving someone without judgment and without expectations. The asteroid Excalibur is in Leo, making a trine between Amor, union, and Excalibur. Excalibur represents our mission. So one phase of the mission is loving your twin and loving yourself without judgment and without expectation. And letting go of any negativity that blocks you from those feelings. And Kali and Psyche are helping us here. As well as Lilith. We also have asteroid Icarus in Pisces coming into a conjunction with the South Node. And Icarus also warns us that we need to take the middle path. Icarus on the South Node is breaking free from the past life karma. But if you know the story of Icarus, his father built wings out of wax and feathers. And Icarus stood on the cliff, and he was afraid. He had to jump off a cliff. He literally is the fool, taking that leap of faith. And he was scared, but he overcame his fears and he jumped, and he was able to fly. But his father had warned him, fly too close to the sun and it will melt the wax. Fly too close to the water and your feathers will get too heavy and you'll sink. So again, stay on the middle path. Find your self-control. And it's 11:11, as I said that. So a sign. You can let go of the karma. You can take your leap of faith. But don't be too impetuous. And don't be too timid. Trust yourself. Believe in yourself. Love yourself at this time and pamper yourself. Spend time in meditation. Get in touch with who you are. And get in touch with your courage. New moons are a time of manifestation. So make sure you take the time to form a list of things that you'd like to manifest. And then begin to take steps in the next few days after the new moon to bring them into reality. Thank you so much for liking, subscribing, and sharing my videos. You can follow me on Facebook at Twinstrology, and I also do personal readings. You can visit my website at eclipseastro.com, and I'll make a link to that at the bottom of this video. Thank you so much for listening.